Hi there, this is Sheri Leigh Myers. Welcome to How to Connect with Angels. We believe that no matter what, every person has the unconditional love and help of angels, our messengers from God. But we have to be willing to believe, and we have to be willing to ask. That's what our film, The Glitch, that we are shooting here in New Orleans is all about, with the help of some amazing music and talent. If you're curious, visit us at theglitchmovie.com and take a look. But now, right now, let's talk to someone who's devoted to helping us make a divine connection. Sue Ellis Saller, the founder of Angel Business Basics and Spiritual Business Spotlight, is a certified angel card reader, a Reiki and Energy Practitioner, a Certified Transformational Life Coach, and a business development mentor. She started Angel Business Basics because she wanted to help other earth angels and light workers to learn about the basics of creating and growing prosperous and sustainable businesses. She lives in Vienna, Austria with her family. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you, Sheri, for having me. I feel so honored, and I'm a little jealous of you in New Orleans too. So,
well, we're going to fix that because you're going to come visit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sue, bear with me for a minute because I'm going to actually let people know all of the things that you do. And because right off the bat, these are tools that bring our dreams into reality, such as Sue serves as a business advisor to earth angels, to sensitive and spiritual entrepreneurs. Okay. She does Reiki healing. She offers energetic coaching support in the process of whatever goals you're going after in your business model. She is an angel and tarot card reader. She is an intuitive soul advisor. So she can bring your angels to bear and help you to access them in support of your path. And she has an incredible blog, beautifully written blog that is so generous, and it's called the Spiritual Business Spotlight. Sue, how is it that we have an American who lives in Vienna who has this amazing spiritual take on business? Tell us about you. Where did you grow up?
Oh, gosh. Well, I grew up a little bit outside of Chicago. And, I came from a family that's very common for the 1970s, the early 70s. My parents split up. My mom was a single mother who was raising us. Of course, she had to work hard to take care of us. And, she came from, of course, I was raised as a Catholic. Chicagoland area is very heavily Catholic. And aside from the fact that my mom was Catholic, she was very open to spirituality as well, which was really nice because it gave me the opportunity to explore different ways of thinking about connecting with God.
At an early age.
Exactly. My mom was like, God didn't create a church. I'm going to go outside in the forest because God created a forest, and that's where I'm going to worship.
Your mother said that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you grew up with that sense of connection with God and through nature to your own spirit.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you've gone through quite a journey.
Yeah.
Can we kind of like do the cliff notes of that journey? Because you landed with what you're doing today because of things that happened.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
So many people, I started out as the fat, dumpy kid, who didn't have nice clothes. And so I was really bullied in school to the point where I was severely depressed from it, and coming from that, then, work growing up in a single parent household, you have a different, you don't have a parent who's there for you all the time. You don't have a parent who's, reading you bedtime stories all the time or whatever, So I did have one of those upbringings, started with the bullying. My mom couldn't really do anything to send me to a different school. And then you end up getting involved with drugs and alcohol. And, especially coming from a broken family, that's kind of a lot of times the background to that.
Mm-hmm.
End up involved with some very interesting characters, we'll put it that way, because some of them are very beautiful people. They are just people who've had hard times, just like me. I had a daughter when I was I wasn't quite young. I was 24 at the time, but
hey,
of course
that's
I was
pretty young.
yeah, looking back.
Come on. Wow.
Single parent myself.
Yeah.
Raised her.
Wow.
But there was always this undertone of desire for connection and desire to know myself and the universe better. And sometimes I think, I don't know if the spirituality or the predisposition to be spiritual kind of feeds into that, like you're destined to become, you have two choices usually. I could have turned out way different. And I think God's and all of everything that has helped to guide me through this.
Yeah.
Because my life and my children's lives could have been completely different than they are right now. Mm-hmm. Completely.
So can I venture that you were saved by angels?
I was saved, by
the earth angels. I mean, were there just
earth angels that gave me goosebumps because, you talk about when there was a time when my mom kicked me out and I went to go live in this house with some friends and I was really depressed. And speaking of earth angels, I hid out for a while downstairs in the basement. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want anybody, I was just so ashamed and alone. And I went upstairs, and the girl who lived there, who's passed on now, she's like, hey, I haven't seen you, even though we live in the same house. And I was like, yeah, I'm downstairs and I don't feel like talking to anybody, and she's like, I understand. Sorry. Wow. And it turned out that, out of all the people in the world, I just needed that little bit of, I needed an earth angel. I needed somebody who to just say, I'm here. I understand.
So anyhow, an earth angel and you were downstairs. I mean, you had to pull a lot of stuff together to keep going. And there was, you were in your 20s and you were raising your daughter and now you're in your 30s. And how are you coming back? How did you bring your spiritual life back into your life and especially in the way you are now? It's front and center. That's what you do.
Right. Well, I'm in my 40s now, my mid 40s.
Oh, good. So we've got some interesting 30s. Tell me what happened.
In my 30s, I was really, I talked to some friends about it and they said the same thing. Like I opened up to the angels, especially when my daughter was young, because that's when I really started experimenting with energy work and with, working with angels in a very specific and regulated manner. And then I think, some of us were saying that there was a doorway that was open and then it shut off for a lot of people for like 10 years. So not 10, maybe 8 years. It was like that 8-year, you might know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You might think, ooh,
yeah. But I know what you're saying.
So then when I had my two youngest, I went through like a postnatal depression phase and everything. Mm-hmm. But it was just like, then you need something to help you to kind of work through your, pardon my French, but your stuff, your shit that's going on in your life.
Because it's all on you. It's all on you. You've got to keep your SHIT together. because you've got two little ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know how it is once you open up to the angels, it's just like, ha, you know, the heavens like kind of shine down on you, and you start noticing like learning about how to work with them and how to see the signs. And then, you know, when you feel alone, it's not even an earth angel you contact anymore. It's like really angels. Like, you know, sometimes I've felt really alone. I've been going through some really tough stuff with my kids, or like one of my kids was in the hospital.
Oh, sorry.
Driving home from the hospital and just feeling so alone, especially living in Vienna and not having any family here.
Yeah.
And then I look up and I was like, the license plate in front of me was like 444. And then I look to the left and it's like 111. And, you know, you're just like, it was just like this beautiful confirmation. Like, no, you're not alone. You can do this. We got your back.
Yeah. Tell me more your business. How did it come about, by the way? Was it because you had to go through this yourself?
Yes. That's the whole thing. Like, I had to go through it myself. And then I saw a real need for people to help other people who were just starting their business. It's like, you know, if you put your hand out and you help to bring somebody up to your level. So it was just like I was learning all these things as far as the technical side of like WordPress and social media and, you know, downloading videos and uploading them and extracting the MP3 out of it. And, you know, just all this fascinating, wonderful stuff. At the same time, I was getting to know all these angel people from the community. I had, volunteered for Doreen Virtue once in Salzburg and once in Zurich.
Ah, wow.
Yeah. And so I met so many fabulous, beautiful people who were just starting out with their spiritual businesses. And so it was just kind of like helping these people to find the confidence in their work and helping them to, you know, figure out the little bits that are so annoying if you don't know how to do them. Mm-hmm. But just really, because like you said, when we were talking before, there's such a need for spiritual and sensitive entrepreneurs right now because they do things differently. Their vision is different. Their motivations are different. Mm-hmm. They are more generous. They're, you know, I'm talking as, you know, as a whole. Their practices are more in line with something that is not fully, you know, capitalistic and selfish and, you know, greedy and me.
Yes.
It's really kind of this us.
Yes.
And it's softer. It has less impact on the earth. It's more kind. It's more forgiving. It's more loving. It's more joyous. It brings in so much more satisfaction, and it helps people. It's just like the angels feeding the earth angels, feeding the angels, feeding the earth angels, and just changing the world on a vibrational level. And my mission is to help that, you know.
That is an amazing statement you made. I love what you just said. It does have planetary outcomes. And when we've been moving to this piece of it, right? For a while, you've been moving into your coaching practice. Tell us, what does it look like now? Are all the ways that people can interact with you?
So, I do one-to-one coaching for just personal things. So if a person needs somebody to kind of a sounding board, you know, I kind of call myself like Crazy Aunt Sue because, you know, everybody needs somebody to talk to who's on their side, who's got experience, you know, and who's sympathetic, but won't let them kind of hopefully fall into a bad situation, or will kind of tell them, hey, do you really need to be doing that? So I would do regular coaching like that. I do the business mentoring, and that's usually with spiritual and sensitive people. And so that's really kind of formulating a strategy and working on getting their work out to the public and being consistent and being in the flow, without getting into that space of overwhelm. And, because so many coaches these days are like, come on, hustle, you got to do it, got to do. And I'm just like, let this pour out of you in the way that it does and when it does. And then, when this content or when this stuff when your work comes through, batch it or, take it. And we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but reuse it for things. If you have something that comes out when, like you were telling me earlier, when you're doing a coaching session or something, create an image from that, work with that, use that, what you get in your practice to feed your social media,
I want to go back to a point that you said when we were talking earlier, that it was really important that there's this piece that you bring, and which is a great help to spiritual entrepreneurs. You were describing the difference between working with the angels and being in that flow and not. And you were describing it in a really experiential way. Can we go to that? Can we bring that back up again? Because it's so important.
Okay, I hope so, because I'm like, when you just take the moment to rest and kind of soften and call the angels into your work and into your practice, and then you work from that space and you kind of use that creative flow that you get from that sense of peacefulness to feed your work. So instead of working from creating from a hectic must do space, then you create from that lovingly supported space that has all the time in the world, that has just that vision or that mission to communicate to the world in whatever voice it comes out in. Some people write, or some people record, or some people make videos or songs or whatever, but you have to be open, number one, in that space of inspiration where you call your angels in and you call, on the universe to help you out. But then also not hung up by this must do, must have, must give mentality where you just let it flow out and be what it is. Is that kind of what you were talking about?
And what you were also mentioning was the life experience of the energy itself softening.
Yeah. And that's, when I first, and I think that you've experienced this as well, when you call the angels into your life. I mean, just as I closed my eyes and I imagined getting into that space, everything around you softens. The way that things flow through your mind shifts, and it's almost like you can feel like a tangible, like I can mold and create things in front of me by calling the angels in to help me to, I don't know how to put it, to create or to be in that space.
It's like, it feels to me like it's facilitating. Let's talk about the protection of the angels in your life and the difference that makes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. I am a sensitive person. I'm also quite the superstitious person. My husband decided that we were going to move in the house with the graveyard next door. For real. Seriously.
Wow.
So being sensitive, sometimes, and then there was the energy of the house itself when we moved in, which there wasn't, it wasn't a great story of the people who we bought the house from. So there was a lot of energetic debris, we'll call it, floating around in the house. And this is another reason that I really started working with the angels, because I call on Archangel Michael, number one. Oh my gosh, I have another story to tell you, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. So I call on Archangel Michael, and I have him put like the cobalt blue bubble around my house to make it safe. I'm always calling on the angels, especially if my children are going on trips anywhere. So I send Archangel Michael with them to protect them and shield them.
You work with the angels probably every day now. I mean, is it a constant? Yeah. You're never not in connection? Is that right or no?
I would say there are days when it just slips out of my mind. Like, I'm human like everybody else. So I have those days but really my spirituality is like, I would say number one in my life. So I do work with the angels on a daily basis. I do work, with just different energies and, finding feathers or, seeing repetitive numbers or, also counseling and advising people, that's something that I do on a daily basis as well. So I have angel things around my house. I have, just the presence of the angels. Yeah, I would say is a definite daily presence and something.
I wanted to say, Sue, you have really beautiful accolades on your website. And the website is Sue Ellis Saller. Mm-hmm. And you have people whose lives were changed when they had a session with you. And it was, sometimes it's Reiki and sometimes it's a reading. And you also offer that as an adjunct to the spiritual business side of it, because you're opening up it's kind of like opening up the treasure chest, isn't it? To see what's in place, what's not in place, what's out of, does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Oh yeah, totally. Because it's a part of it. I do the work myself, so I can totally understand, what other people need to do in order to build themselves up. But then it's not something that stops when the session is over. I don't think, when people are ready to open up to this kind of energy and working with this kind of energy, it vibrates through their lives. It really is something that helps them to take themselves to the next level, to always know that even if they feel like they're alone, they have support, and all they have to do is call on the angels to help them out. And so whether they need to talk to somebody like you or talk to somebody like me to just get that validation or that affirmation that yes, the angels are there and, you've seen the signs, or, just to have somebody who totally understands what they're talking about or who will make that space for them. I think that's really important as well, because that facilitates, like you said, opening up, feeling comfortable and supported, and feeling like they can make these positive changes in their lives. We're all human and we're all going to slip from time to time, but there's going to be people and there's going to be energies around them that they can call on to actually help them move forward.
Ah, beautiful.
I have a client who I've been working with for a while who is, I give her regular Reiki sessions, but I met her in Zurich when I was doing, and she's an angel worker and everything. She's a heart flow healer.
Nice.
But yeah, I'll give you her information too. But, having that support and being there to help her bring that spirituality into a place where she feels comfortable with what she's doing and she feels comfortable with the rate that things are flowing. But she also has that strategy in mind, and it's a strategy that is dependent on her and her priorities in her life, but also on being a consistent, what's the word I'm looking for, like showing up consistently for her audience and really realizing that her work, the work that she does, is important. So,
yeah,
because if I don't want to work with anybody. I don't want to work with a person who's, selling pharmaceuticals. I mean, I would work with a person who's selling pharmaceuticals who had, a spiritual side to them, or who needed spiritual advice and guidance. But as far as, helping a person on the business level, I want to deal with spiritual people because I feel like we're at the cusp of something new and exciting happening.
Yes.
And so the more that spiritual people are involved, the more, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, but the more they accept the flow of material things into their life, such as money or, power, in a sense. I'm putting my fingers up there, but we have the opportunity to change things, and having money and having a successful business and accepting exchange for our work is really a valuable thing to learn, and not to shun it, and not to, set it aside as, I'm 5D now. I don't need money, because you're really 3D and you still need money.
Good on you. That's what I say.
Well, good on you too. I mean, look at what you're doing. You're bringing more light and more, it's just like, if you think about lining prisms up and just spreading the light, like, woo,
Right. Right.
It's wonderful. And that's one of the things too. It's not a feeling of competition. It's a feeling of collaboration. It's a feeling of, let's work together to change, and let's work together to create something better and special that's based on what we believe in. And when you have the angels as part of the basics of what you believe in, like, it says something positive.
Yeah. Yeah. Sue, go ahead. What would you like to say?
Oh my gosh. So, you aren't alone, and you don't have to feel alone. Even when you're in the loneliest spot in your mind, the angels are there for you. And all you have to do is ask them to help you, ask them for guidance and support. And then what you have to do is be open to hearing what they have to say, because that's part of it too, is kind of setting your ego aside and setting what you want aside, and really allowing yourself to flow and trust and be guided. Because like I was saying before, I call on Archangel Michael when I feel scared and worried. I call on Archangel Gabriel when I want to communicate better. I call on Archangel Uriel when I feel like my self-confidence is lacking, or Shamuel when I need to connect with unconditional love. There's an angel out there for everything that you need help with, and it's just about opening up. And it's kind of funny, because once you do open up and you start seeing the signs, like at first I thought I was a little cuckoo, so I was just like, oh, that can't be a sign. But then once you start seeing the repetitive numbers, the feathers falling out of the air, which is really, bizarre when it happens, coins or glistens of light. That's one, where you just look and you're just like, wow, there's a rainbow there, and there shouldn't be a rainbow there. So, and it's just really opening up and, softening yourself. Some people are going to judge you for working with angels, and that's okay. Some people are going to say this and some people are going to say that, but it doesn't really matter what they have to say, because when you start following a spiritual path, and when you start allowing, this kinder, gentler side of you to lead, you will lose friends. Some people you'll want to kind of push out of your life because they just don't fit. It's not that they might not come back later on in a different form, in a different space in their own lives. I also feel like there's a third wave coming up, and this is something that I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in the future, where, I feel like Wayne Dyer, Louise Hayes, and Doreen Virtue were kind of like a bridge between like old school Christian traditional beliefs and this new phase that we're moving into, because, there had to be a bridge built between, kind of dogmatic religious
Yes.
traditions.
Yes.
Moving us into this space where we're more open. And we also need this, the earth it only has finite amount of resources.
Yes.
And we have the opportunity right now to make some changes to bring prosperity and peace and harmony into spaces where there was, pillaging and, just taking advantage of. And so we have to, like you said earlier, Sheri, we have to lead by example. This is our time now to take the way that we live our lives and what we think and how we feel and open that up to the world. Because like you were saying earlier too, what we say and how we share it, it's going to touch people out there, people who might be hiding a little bit, but who are open to it, or people who really need, to see that message of hope, to see that, kind of open their Facebook and see something that's just this beautiful message that just pops up out of nowhere.
I agree. People need to see that message of hope.
Yeah, definitely. And Sheri, people like you who are helping to spread it on a wider and bigger platform, good on you. So thank you so very much for, taking the time and being patient and bringing this project to fruition and believing in it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. If you liked this recording and benefited from it, please, for heaven's sake, share it with your friends. If you loved it and want to hear more, go to theglitchmovie.com/how to connect with angels, where you can listen and subscribe. Thank you so much.